Welcome to another edition of the Eyes Report. In this series, we'll be covering all 18 AFL clubs and their pre-season so far. In today's episode, we'll go through Collingwood, the Brisbane Lions, St Kilda, and then finish off with Port Adelaide. So let's get straight into it. It's been an up and down pre-season for Collingwood so far. They did have some major injuries. The first one being Dan McStay. He's likely going to miss the year. He could come back maybe for finals, but it's looking unlikely. And the other one was Braden Maynard, had that big shoulder reconstruction, but he's progressing really well and he should be back in training pretty soon. Myercheck has had a slight calf concern. It doesn't seem to be too serious, so they're just managing him through that. Josh Dacos has a strange foot injury they're managing as well. Doesn't seem to be too serious because he has been on the track. It's just something they're managing, so keep an eye out for it, but I think he'll be okay at this stage. Off the field, Graham Wright has taken a sabbatical from being the footy boss. Nothing's official has come yet, but it looks like Brendan Bolton is going to be upgraded from the assistant coach and moved into that role. On the track, not a whole lot has been discussed. A couple of the forwards in Beau McCreary, who's been taking some centre bounces at training, and Bobby Hill have been pretty electric and busy in the forward line, which is a good sign. There's also various reports that Finlay McRae, brother of Jack McRae, who looked like he might be requesting a trade in last year's trade period, is in line to essentially replace Taylor Adams and be a critical member of that midfield. So as a Pies fan, you should be excited to hear that because he's been stuck in the VFL. Hasn't got that much opportunity, but it looks like at round one, he should be in the mix for a midfield spot. Ash Johnson as well, another forward player who was kind of in and out of the team last year. He has improved once again. He's looking pretty creative in the forward line, very dangerous, especially in the air. We know that's his best attribute. And a couple of the rookies in Harry Dimatia and Chu Jiath are fitting in nicely. Now, whether they can play round one, we'll have to wait and see, but it's a good sign that players that they've drafted have come in seamlessly and are playing well. So pretty good signs at Collingwood so far in the pre-season. Moving on to the runners-up in the Brisbane Lions, there hasn't been a whole lot of information coming out of Brisbane, which again I think you can take mainly as a positive. No news is often good news. On the injury front, nothing really major, no surgeries for their star players like Neil or Dunkley or Danaher have been released, so I think all those guys are cleared. Ashcroft is in the rehab group, progressing really well. It's still unclear when we'll see him, but probably be by mid next year, maybe a little earlier. If he keeps progressing the way he is. And Jack Payne is also in the rehab group and they'd like to get him ready by round one. In general news, not a whole lot of player notes, so I can't really delve into that, but a bit of good contract news. So Kadeen Coleman signed a 3-year extension until 2027, and defender alongside him, one of the best lockdown defenders, Brandon Starcevic, has signed a 1-year extension, so he'll be out of contract in 2025. So that's two really good signings for Brisbane coming into this season. And recruit Tom Doedee has been fitting in nicely. He hasn't been participating in the recent match simulation, but has been doing a lot of the training, running and things like that. So he's pretty much integrated in the program. It looks like he'll be a starter for round one, which is exciting for Brisbane fans. Having a look at the Saints pre-season, they've had quite a bit spoken about them through the various media outlets, and it's been pretty positive. The injury side of it wasn't looking great at the pre-season. They had a lot of guys in surgery, including Jack Steele. He had a full ankle clean out. Brad Crouch, Dan Butler, Jack Hayes and Max King have all had various procedures done, but are all returning, and all of them should be back in full training and doing some of the match simulation in about a week, which is really good sign because a lot of those names are key starters, and to get them kind of all cleaned up, get their bodies fresh and ready to go at this stage has been a really good sign. The trifecta of Bradley Hill, Liam Henry and Wanganeen Malira are standing out in the training and match simulation. All three are really fast, all have clean ball use as well, very precise kicks. So Saint fans should be happy that those three are working well together so far. Darcy Wilson, who was pick 18, showing positive signs. He still looks a little skinny to be playing AFL, but he may debut sometime in the season, but I do doubt it's round one, but he's showing a lot of good signs. Windhager and Owens, two of their young stars. Windhager moved to defence, and we know Mitch Owens kind of played everywhere. He was even a second ruck at times. Physically, those guys from the reports are looking mature in the body, so look for them to go to another level, especially Mitch Owens might be playing more midfield this year. And the coaching group was so good last year and nothing has really changed. The only swap of note is that Lenny Hayes, who was the midfield coach, is now in development, and Brendan Goddard has swapped with him and he is now the midfield coach. So the off-season started a little rocky for the Saints, but I think everything's back on track, and unlike last pre-season when they had all those injuries, it's looking like they've got on top of it and they have a full squad to work through leading up to round one. Moving to South Australia and focusing on the power, the injuries have been okay so far. They're pretty healthy. Todd Marshall, he's had a bad hip, is reintegrating back into training, which is a good sign. And Mitch Georgiades, coming off that ACL, is recovering. He'll be close to round one. He'll still need to prove his fitness. And then he'll actually need to show his form to be selected in round one, because he is no certain starter at this point in the pre-season. General notes, the backline duo of Brandon Zerk-Thatcher and Radigalia been really impressive, fitting seamlessly well with Aliir, so they will be working on that chemistry and fine-tuning everything for the start of the season. Ollie Wines has had a couple down years since 2021, since he won that Brownlow. He was stationed on a wing at times last year, only attended about half of Port Adelaide's centre bounces, but he's had a good pre-season so far. He's looking fit, he's looking sharp, and Port Adelaide have said he'll be transitioning back to be a permanent on-baller if he can get through the pre-season fully fit. So that's a good sign for the Power, because he is still a good player for them and complements Butters and Rosie really well. So with Dersma departing, there is some open wing spots, and the one to look out for is Tom Cleary. We know him as a key defender. They like his size and they want to put him on the wing. So he'll be competing with Travis Boak and Josh Sin as well. They're all in line to get some wing time. So we'll see how that pans out. The Power couldn't quite get it right and stable last year, using guys like Wines on a wing, and when he probably doesn't belong there. So we'll see how the Power sort that part of the ground out. So the other news was Rosie signed that huge extension and was named captain, and Butters signed a 2-year deal and he is named vice captain. So we'll see how those two continue to grow, and we'll see what Rosie's impact as captain can have from the start of the season onwards.